OCR GCSE Computer Science, Episode 19, Network Topologies. So what is a topology? A topology is the layout of a network. And as you can imagine, there are loads of possible ways that a network can be laid out. But there are two main ways that you need to know about: star topologies and mesh topologies. Let's begin by looking at star topologies. So what is a star topology? This is where all of the devices are connected to a central switch or server that controls the network. So you can see in the diagram, each node, which is just a device that connects to a network, is connected centrally to the switch, and they are not connected to each other, just to the switch. Now, star networks may be wired or wireless. Now let's look at mesh topologies. In mesh topologies, all of the devices are directly or indirectly connected to each other. So, since there is no server or switch, it is called a decentralized network. Mesh networks work by sending data along the fastest possible route. So, for example, think of it as a star topology, being that each node is a student and the switch is a teacher. So you can easily directly ask your questions to the switch. Whereas in a mesh topology, there is no teacher, so you just pass around your messages to your fellow students instead of directly to a teacher. Now, for the exam, you may be asked to talk about the pros and cons of both the star and mesh topologies. So let's go through them. So, pros for the star is that if a device fails or a cable is disconnected, then the rest of the network is still maintained, it's unaffected. Also, if you wanted to add more devices, you can just easily do that, and it often has better performance than a lot of other setups. However, cons include that if it was a wired star network, then every single device needs individual cabling, which is expensive, and if there is a problem with the switch, then the whole network is affected. Now let's look at the mesh. So pros include that there is no single point where the network can fail, and it's actually cheaper than star if you're using a wireless network. However, cons include it's actually expensive if you are using a wired. So if it's a wireless, then it's cheaper. If it's wired, it's more expensive. Exam question time. So this is a really good resource from the CGP practice book, unsponsored. So his question: explain one advantage and one disadvantage of mesh topologies compared to star topologies. Now pause if you want to answer, or let's look at the answers together. So, the advantage is that if a single device fails, the network can still function, going to a different route, whereas in star, the central switch failure can cause the entire network to fail. And a disadvantage is that devices in a mesh network need much more cabling than a star if it was a wired network. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it and find it a useful resource, make sure you subscribe to Knowable for GCSE and Knowable A-Level. Thank you so much. All the best for your exams, and see you